Recently, I found myself questioning a little bit what I'm doing here in Japan. See, for so long, the dream was to come and live in Japan, which of course I am now doing. But the question remains, now what? What do I do now that I'm here? What was the goal? What was the point? So what I want to talk about today is passion. Recently, I've been really trying to figure out what my passion truly is in this country. And it's not eating fried chicken. In my trip to Tokyo just before Christmas, I decided to go to the Warhammer store. Now, Warhammer is a hobby that I had on and off back in the UK. I was an avid collector of Necrons, although mostly they were still grey plastic. So I decided to try and get back into the hobby over here in Japan. It's a little bit more expensive, but I figured with not much to do out here in the countryside, it would give me something to challenge myself. And the first model I painted, I had a fantastic time. This is a Custodes, and I decided to paint him in a Shadow Keeper style. It's the first time I've ever done anything with the base, and I'm quite proud of it. I'm quite happy with the way that it's turned out. The shading is good, and the gold looks like gold, which I really struggled with my golden Necrons. However, for a number of weeks, I've had this Custode just sat on my desk, doing nothing, looking unfinished. And the question is why? I enjoyed painting the first one so much, why haven't I gotten back round to doing the second one? And I think this comes down to a few things. One, patience. My patience is pretty low, and I'm a pre-TikTok generation, so that's just something that I've evolved naturally over time, although TikTok has not helped. But there is another reason that Warhammer hasn't kind of taken over my life, and it's because I found something else to do with my time, and one of the reasons that I haven't uploaded in a wee little while. A few months ago, I decided to buy a computer mainly for editing purposes, but in the end, I did buy a computer that could run video games, and that's kind of where I've been at for the past couple of weeks, maybe since the start of Christmas break. So I've been playing God of War, and I've been having a great time. I've just completed the main story mission, and I really thought that I would get into video games, and I really have. I've played God of War, Lies of P, some Crusader Kings 3, and I've been having a great time. It has consumed my life a little bit though. I get home from work, I stay up slightly too late playing video games. It's something of a problem, really. Even now, I'm getting distracted by the video game when all I wanted to do was record some footage for it. What is that? Something important to realize is I'm not very good at video games, but I am having a good time. This is not on any sort of high setting. It's on the normal one, I think. And it's a good time. I think I do recommend playing it, and I do recommend getting into gaming if that's something you want. I haven't really gamed like this since I was a teenager, maybe 15 years old, playing World of Warcraft. The first week I played for, 115 hours, which I think if you average that out, it's like 16 hours a day, which is a little bit ridiculous. But I did it, and now here we are, playing a game that has taken me about 20 hours to complete, and having a great time. And honestly, I'm just really excited to play more video games, and it's one of the reasons I haven't been going outside as much, which is kind of a sad thing to say when you say it like that. Another game that captured my attention not too recently was the game Crusader Kings 3. Now, when I was a young'un, I did play EU4, Europa Universalis 4, and I didn't really ever understand the mechanics in that game, and to be honest, this game has caused me some issues. For instance, my father died before his father died, and in this game you play as someone who inherits land. And at the moment, you'll notice that I've got a bit of a problem in that many of my counselors really hate me. And one of the reasons for that is because I've only recently inherited this land. It's kind of painful to see that happen. So at the moment, I have got some problems, although I do have some alliances that I cannot form because nobody likes me. So I've kind of encountered a problem. Now, there is one solution for this. We have to host a feast. And it has to be here. And I reckon we don't need to travel anywhere. I reckon we have an honorary guest. and it should be someone that absolutely hates my guts. And this guy does not like me very much, so let's have him. Yes, behold. Oh no, the plague has come. This is a bad time. I am not a video game player who records video game footage, so this is obviously... What the hell is going on with Ireland? This game has consumed 25 hours of my time. God of War consumed 20 hours of my time. Both of them have been fantastic experiences, and I highly recommend playing them if you're into video games. But one of the things is, I'm now not going outside very much, to be honest. Weirdly, I just got a New Year's towel from my gas company. Japan gives you free towels. Now, one of my main passions is actually a game called Pathfinder, which isn't a video game, it's a role-playing game that you play with your friends, normally at a table. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to play at a table even when I was in the UK because my friends split and moved to hither and thither. But it's far more difficult in Japan to be consistent with playing. At least in the UK, we had the same time zones, and so we could play on an evening after work. Not quite so possible when I'm 9 hours ahead of the UK. And so while it does take a lot of my time and it is truly a passion of mine, the lore, the playing, spending time with your friends, it is something that recently has taken a bit of a hit because people have been so busy over the Christmas period and going on holidays and things like that. And because of the time difference, the slots are basically twice a week. You could play. Unless I have at least 4 of my 5 players, it doesn't really seem worth it, and you also risk killing them all with an unbalanced encounter. So I personally choose to just not do that, and so at the moment we're just waiting for everyone to get back together again, which is so hard. This is one of the first times I've ever seen so much of a river actually frozen over. That is incredibly beautiful. I wonder how long it takes for this to melt, or if it will melt. It's kind of in the shade, so... Ha! There's frost on the ground, boys. Up here in Karuizawa. After playing so many video games, I did decide that touching grass might be a worthy decision. Mushroom parking. So apparently this is what they call a moss garden, because it's covered in well-maintained moss, I guess. And over here there's some sort of avant-garde cafe or something. Seems like it's closed today, maybe, because there's gates here, but it looks like that building there, that little hobbit house, is a cafe. The buildings here are particularly peculiar, I'm not going to lie, for Japan. Churches are not that uncommon in Japan, but this is the first time I've seen one made of wood. There's even like a bell over there and a statue of presumably a Christian man. Yeah, very interesting. It's very serene here, but I do think I'm in the rich part of town, so I need to go back to where the shops are. Welcome to Luke's Side Street Adventure. Buddhist temple. The red hats. The bell, which I'd normally ring, but I'm just off the main road and that feels a little inappropriate. I can't read a word of this. These are beautiful buildings though. Oh, look at that. That window there is bell-shaped. Church Street. Looks almost British. Imagine putting this outside every day. The world's longest shoe.